Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fine episode of your favorite podcast, the JoyPad podcast, which is the first time I've probably said that name in, I don't know, 30 episodes where I've actually gotten it right and not had to second guess myself. With me, as always, are my three favorite co-hosts, Megan, Pinto, and Fleming. I am Tom, and I am going to be your topic boy today. So I am going to go ahead and throw it over to Mr. Michael Pinto. What, sir, are you playing, drinking, feeling, contemplating at the moment? Whatever your heart's desire, share away.
Let's see. What should I start with? I'm feeling relatively sated as I just consumed a cream cheese Danish. I am contemplating the fact that I have to get my kitten's nards messed with soon, so I have to schedule that
Oh,
appointment to get them fixed. After eating probably like 2 peaches a day for the past week, I'm out of peaches. But what I
oh,
have today is the Susquehanna Brewing Company's Eat a Peach Ale to drink. So it
there you
all works
go.
out.
Gotta
Here
get
we
that
go.
fix.
You're a liar. You're not out of peaches at all, then.
I am out of peaches. They're really good, but they go bad so fast. They're really
They
so
really do.
like yeah, tasty. And
Good.
what have I been playing? I actually went back and played the entirety in the past week. I played the entirety of the StarCraft 2 campaign from
Wow.
Wings of Liberty to up to Legacy of the Void. And
Did you
that's
finish all of it?
yes. The only one I haven't played is like the extra little thing they added afterwards with Nova, but I don't really care about playing that. And
What were
that's
your
really mostly what I've been playing. Although today I played a lot of Don't Starve, which was fun.
okay?
That's a fun game.
I have a question for you though.
Uh huh.
When you played the StarCraft 2 campaign, was your favorite missions still the Zeratul missions?
My favorite missions are the defense missions, where it's like you have to defend for half
So
an hour.
the last Zeratul one, where
Yeah,
the Protoss are like on their final stand against the Zerg and the hybrids.
yeah, I love that mission.
That's a
I
really good
love that
mission.
kind of stuff. I love
Yeah,
like defense missions for whatever reason.
yeah.
But yeah, that's mostly what I've been up to. I kind of don't know what to play next, honestly. I'm very like I don't know what I feel like playing at this point. But I'll probably figure it out. Megan, I know what you're going to be playing tomorrow, but
Oh yeah.
what are you contemplating, drinking, playing, etc.?
I, I'm just thinking about how it must feel for Tom to be an outsider. He's the only one that doesn't have an M name. That was a thought I had when we
That's
started
true.
this.
I've
Yeah.
never realized that before.
Yeah, we have
Okay,
Mike
Mark.
squared. But I'm feeling okay. It's almost the weekend, and that makes me happy because I've been getting yelled at all week at work. So that's cool. What am I playing? I've been playing through Hotline Miami again, and then I also picked up Undertale the other night. It's the first time I've played it, and I really like it.
I'm so excited for you to like get deep into that game.
I've
Yeah.
I've never actually played Undertale, but I
Okay.
watched a playthrough of it that I loved, and I love all of the just everything about it. So I'm excited for you to play it too.
I I love like the combat options. Um, you don't actually have to attack something if you don't want to. It's cool. Like graphically, I just love the throwback. The music is nice. So I'm really excited to get further into it. And then, like Pinto was saying, I pre-ordered Ghost of Tsushima, and I'll be playing that a little bit this weekend. Um, I wouldn't say it's something that I'm like super excited for, but it looks cool. I'm a big fan of Kurosawa, and samurais are fun, so we'll see what happens. I'll report back on that next week. And I'm drinking some good old Wegmans Just Tea green tea. So that's my beverage of choice tonight.
Is there anything else in the tea?
Just some green.
Oh, so it's just tea.
Yeah, it's just tea.
I
Un-
get
un-
it.
Anyway, great joke, Tom.
Woo!
I'm gonna
That's what
pass
I'm
it
here
over to Fleming. How are you? What are you drinking? And
Ugh.
what are you playing?
I am a sleepy boy, as I was just telling you guys. I just woke up like 10 minutes before this video started. So I am drinking from the Great Red Can, but I'm hiding the logos because, no sponsorship.
Oh, come on.
Give us money, Great Red Can.
That
It's
hopefully will wake
it's
me up.
Go-Go Cola.
Yes,
It
Go-Go
makes you
Cola.
go.
And I also am drinking from the stupidly large blue water bottle. It is making another appearance with Lancaster County's finest purified water.
Mm.
Otherwise, I'm feeling good. Actually started a new game the other night. It's an old game, but it checks out. It is Middle Earth: Shadow of War, which
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
if anyone's ever played that, but
I
I got it for like $4. So I was like, I'm gonna play this because I hadn't played it yet, and it's actually very good. I think I never played the Assassin's Creed games, but I think it's modeled after them, or it's like uses the same engine. Well, engines are pretty broad. It uses the same game concept, but I've never played Assassin's Creed, so I actually have no idea if that's correct. But it feels that style where you're jumping over rooftops. You're not engaged in the actual normal battles as much. You're trying to kill off captains, try to progress through the story. I'm only like 6% through, and I've died a lot of times. But
Yeah, that'll happen.
well, because I'm like, I'm gonna go after the weak captains. It makes sense. So I go after a weak captain, and then Mash the Destroyer or whatever his name is shows up, and he's like an 18. So then you have to glitch out the AI, so you're just fighting him. Because if you fight the captains by themselves, they're pretty easy because you could just kind of figure it out and button mash, and you're good to go. So
I have
I
to
did
ask.
kill him.
I have to ask a question.
Yeah, ask away.
What is your favorite orc captain name so far? Because I have two that are near and dear to my heart, but I want to hear yours.
I don't remember the exact name, but I think it was like Skank or Stank or something like that. It was like ST. It was something S Ank, and I'm pretty sure it was Stank, which was pretty funny. I was like, "Damn, you stank."
When my wife and I played, the first one we got was a really big guy whose name was Nazdug, and we used to have a really fat cat, so we used to call her Nazdug whenever she would be kind of goofy and just saunter into our room. But my personal favorite was an orc captain with a name spelled Dush, and you can probably guess exactly how that's pronounced because the game pronounces that as Douche the Mountain. So and whenever they enter the screen, there are littler orcs that chant their name. So there's all these little orcs just going douche, douche, douche.
That's funny you say that actually, because now that I think about it, I had a dash definitely, and I heard them chanting like dash, dash, and like when you're being killed by them, you're like on your knees basically, and you're gonna have like a last chance where you have to hit a button at a certain time, and then you'll dodge it. The cool epic Lord of the Rings music in the background plays like do 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 as you like stand up and you do this little side slash into them, and then you fight again, and all the other Uruk-hai come charging at your character too. But they were all chanting dash, dash, so I know exactly what you mean. I have not had douche yet. I'll let you know if I do.
I hope you do. It's
But
a glorious moment.
I've had dash, I've had vash, I've had like I said, stank or skank, something like that. There's been a lot of weird, funny names. One of the guys was called, I forget his exact name, something the Destroyer, like Sayo or something, Sayo the Destroyer. I've had Rash, I think it was, or something with an R, the Handsome, which was pretty funny.
Those guys are funny.
Yeah, so like it's actually I needed a game. I was just saying this, not on the podcast, but I was just saying it maybe a couple days ago, a week ago, that I needed a game where I hadn't, just heard good things about but hadn't played, and it needs to be on PC really because I don't have the fancy schmancy PS4, and I wanted to be very reasonably priced because I hate jumping into a game and then playing maybe 5 hours a little past the Steam return policy and then be like that wasn't that good. So heard good things and that it was on sale, so I was like I'm going to try it out based on the reviews. So I tried it out. I'm actually very happy I did because It reminds me of those like old Lord of the Rings games where you play as like
For PlayStation
Gimli.
2?
Yeah, exactly. You know
Oh,
what I'm talking about.
those
It's
games are
similar to
so
that.
good.
Similar to that, but the Urukai and everything are much more difficult than that game. Unless you have Elven Rage, then you destroy everything. And Tom knows exactly what I'm talking about when you have Elven Rage and you just kill everything.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm really happy I played that. I wanted to share with you guys because I hadn't told anyone that I've been playing that. It's a really good game. Really been enjoying it. But Pinto, you didn't say what you are playing, I believe. Or no, wait, Tom. Jeez, see, I told you I'm tired. Tom, I don't think you said what you're playing.
Yeah.
Did I miss that?
No, I intentionally am going to go last because I'm the topic boy.
Ooh.
So, and yes, for those of you who are listening to this recorded session, Fleming already mistook me for Pinto once before we
Listen,
recorded.
I'm so sorry.
We're,
I don't know why you guys are just like stuck in my head as the wrong person. So Tom, you love Stardew Valley?
That's okay. I do love Stardew Valley. It is
Oh.
near and dear to me, though.
But at least I
haven't
caught
played it.
myself that time. I did catch myself that time at least.
That's-
So
You did.
okay. What are you playing, Tom?
Sure. So I am drinking a good old cup of coffee because I'm trying to kick my energy drink habit because I got sick 2 weeks ago and have been reeling from that. So I actually haven't been playing too much. Mostly, I've actually been playing Twilight Struggle a little bit against the computer. I'm trying to get better at the game and learn the later game mechanics a little bit. I'm getting better. Fleming and I actually played each other on Tuesday night after he learned more of the mechanics and got really good against the computer, beat it a
Yeah.
couple times, and now he's definitely better than me.
Just wait for the computer to cheat, though. I've definitely had the computer cheat. I am sure of it. The computer cheated, and I was royally pissed about it.
I came very close to winning one game, which was the one I told you earlier I lost by them playing the War Games card, which just says
Yeah.
give the opponent 8 victory points. If you still outnumber them, basically, you win, and then that's the end. So it all depends on your hands. But we had a fun game on Tuesday. I look forward to playing it again. I'm actually very ready for another match. I'm itching for one. But that's really been it. Just because I've been sick and I haven't really had the stomach to do too much. But I do hope to get back into the Outer Worlds soon. We're pretty far along in that game, I think. We're just about to get to the Byzantium area, which I'm very excited for. But that's basically it. So, since I am also a boring video game player this time, I'm going to go out of my way to talk about what I think is an exciting topic that I'm almost a little bit surprised we haven't talked about before. So, one of the things I love about video games is actually character customization.
Oh boy.
What a
So-
topic!
Oh, boy.
I think there's a whole lot we can talk about here, but I really think the first game that sticks out in my mind as having, I would say, next level character customization that really got me engaged was my favorite that I've talked about many times, Tony Hawk's Underground.
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So there were just a ton of clothing options. You could change the color of things, which was groundbreaking at that point in time on a PlayStation 2. And you could customize your skateboard by putting different wheels and trucks and stickers and all kinds of stuff on it. You could even put in letters and spell out your own kind of thing. Really cool. To say nothing of being able to customize your skaters' tricks and even do created tricks in that game where you could kind of string together little bits of things that you could do. So one of the things I remember doing in that game, of course, the first thing you do is you make yourself, because when you're a kid and you have a create a character mode, you make yourself because you want to feel cool. So I did that, and then I got bored of being me because, well, I'm not that exciting. So I decided I was going to recreate one of my favorite Final Fantasy characters from Final Fantasy VI, who is Sion, the Knight of Doma. And he's not really anyone else's favorite, it doesn't seem, but he has a giant mustache and a ponytail and is kind of an old man. So I thought it was kind of funny that I had like this old man with the ponytail and the big mustache and like I think I had like a blue hoodie was the best approximation of armor I could do and stuff like that. Um, and it was one of the first games I got to play online, so I got to use that as my character online and mess around. So I had a lot of fun with that. But another, I'm also a big MMO player, and I know none of the rest of you guys really are, but that's one thing I really like about those games is there are almost endless options of character customization, both in wardrobe and in just physical appearance. So one of the games I played and was heavily invested in was The Matrix Online. And one of the best parts of that, I mean, really, when you think about The Matrix, you kind of think about the fashion of The Matrix. Everyone has their sunglasses on, everyone's in a three-piece suit with a trench coat, and they just gave you a lot of different options to kind of finagle that sort of look, as well as a couple different others that really fit into the situation. So yeah, I always really feel, I guess, a little bit more immersed in a game when I have that option. And I'm looking forward to hearing from the rest of you what some of your favorite character customization experiences and outcomes are. And I have many more to share. So,
So I got a good one that we should start right away with character customization. One of the earliest ones that I remember as well, The Sims, with the character customization in that game. I would expect that. I would expect most of our viewers, listeners, wherever medium they're consuming us from, is more into the games you mentioned, more hardcore games. But let's say we do get some other people who don't like those war-based games or those other battling-based games. The character customization is something like The Sims, and I mean the whole game is customizable. From the house to my character doesn't drink coffee. You never bought a coffee machine, for example, or something. And it got even better as time went on. So they started adding like custom character traits and those things that could change. You could add your own traits. You could like roll the dice randomly to get some traits. And I think Sims 4, maybe even Sims 3 that started. But that game I know is incredibly customizable, and I think it's important for games to at least allow name changes and the like, so you can put yourself into that game. So you might not change the appearance, but I loved the fact that I was able to rename Locke as Mike in Final Fantasy VI, for example. When I was a little kid, I just loved that. I was like, this is my guy, and everything like that. And those kind of games where you couldn't change much, Cloud as well, changing it to Mike, like that stuff right there was almost a great starting point. So like the mid 90s, I would say, is where I started seeing it. But I first remember. Sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
Oh, there's just one thing too. I've been thinking about this in Final Fantasy, where I think there was a little bit of a turning point. I think it was around Final Fantasy VI, where you could actually see the differences in your character's weapons when they did attacks.
Yes.
And even in Final Fantasy VII, yeah. So the animation in 6, and then in 7, even while like Cloud's holding the sword, you can see the different sorts of swords that he's holding, or the different sort of weapons that people are equipped with.
Yeah, but I still went with the best one.
Oh yeah, so did I.
My way up. I'm just pointing that out. But the final thing I'm gonna say is that customization wise, I think the first time I saw how amazing they could do customizations was probably around like the Mass Effect time, where like you could customize your character from like the ground up down to the facial structures, but still then there was videos, like actual cinematic videos that use your customized character, which to me was incredible. Like I played games before where you could customize characters, like Madden games, for example, where you could have like a super heavy set, quarterback, which didn't make sense, but it was still funny, but you never got close-ups and everything. Whereas like games like Mass Effect, you customize your character, and all of a sudden, all those customizations down to the facial structure was in the cinematic videos, which was pretty incredible. I think a lot of people now in 2020 are like, well, of course it does that. Every game does that. But like those things were groundbreaking as they were happening, 10, 20 years ago. All these changes that we've mentioned. So It's just really incredible. I'm afraid, Pinto, you're going to mention Stardew Valley with customizations, by the way.
I
It still
wasn't
counts.
I wasn't planning on it because it's very basic. I mean, there is some customization, but not a huge amount. Uh, the first thing I wanted to mention is I would be absolutely remiss if it did not mention the wonderful series called Monster Factory,
Oh yes,
I knew it was coming.
run
Yep.
by
Dutch Shepherd.
Justin and Griffin McElroy, where they take character creation to the extreme in whatever games they create. Whereas in Mass Effect 2, they messed with the hex editor to create Truck Shepard, who had a chin that was 6 feet long. Um, they created the Junker in Dark Souls 3. In WWE 2K20, there was Sweet Jean and Snack Braff, who was not Zach Braff. And Sweet Jean was not Gritty. And Stang was not Sting trying to play basketball. But
Tamitha.
yes, I actually wanted to mention I play a lot of wrestling games, so there's a lot of character customization in that, in appearance, and also one of the things that people who play wrestling games would do is not everyone on the current roster is going to make it into the game, but through character creation, you could create the people that were missing and give them their exact move set, and it's like they were in the game. So it was kind of nice. There for a long time, I don't know if they exist anymore, but there were websites like dedicated to that. It was like, oh, you want to play Here Comes the Pain, which is the best PlayStation 2 era wrestling game, but Jeff Hardy wasn't in that game. And everyone loves Jeff Hardy, so there were like 8 different versions of Jeff Hardy you can make. You just look up a guide and you make him. But there's an awful lot of customization in that, and like as bad a rap as the games have gotten in recent years, because they have been pretty bad, the character customization has always been very good and sometimes terrifying, because they let you do a lot of things that you shouldn't be allowed to do to a human being, but it happens. But that's probably my best experience with character creation. Megan?
Hello. I would. I'm following along with Tom and Pinto. Tony Hawk, yes. When you could you could customize your skater. That was perfect. And wrestling games. WrestleMania 2000 had great customization options. You could make your own wrestler. You could also go so far as to customize your entrance by, choosing how you would walk into the ring, what kind of lights you would have. Would you have smoke? I might be adding a little bit too much to that customization, but there was a lot involved with that. I have a very special place in my heart for customization in video games. If it has a cool system, I am sold on it. Even a lot of was it Need for Speed Underground, where you could even customize your car, which in itself is kind of like, that's what you're playing as, this car.
Oh yeah.
That's super fun. But I really like the in-depth editors where you can change like cheekbones, noses. You could make them ridiculous. You can make them, super realistic. I love the Fallout and Elder Scrolls games for the customization. Fallout 4 in particular, I really just like to make my characters as like gross and battle worn as possible. Scars like radiated. I do. It's just fun. There's something about it. Or even sports games. Like as a kid, I remember like making either the smallest football player on the field or basketball player, like as small as I could make them, but like bump up their stats so they were superior, or like the biggest guy on the field. So, but
And
yeah,
then
I
make them
have
completely inferior.
yeah, exactly. Like they couldn't dunk, they couldn't shoot, they couldn't do anything.
Can't even
They were
dribble,
just this-
man. I'm 10 foot tall, man.
Yeah. This bumbling idiot on the court. But no, I love good customization. That's why I'm super excited for Cyberpunk. Everything I've read about the customization.
5 different styles of pubic hair.
I mean, I can do without that.
I just imagine like starting up like a Fallout game like you do, where it kind of works you towards that character customization, where you look at yourself in the mirror and figure
Yeah.
things out. Or I think Fallout 4 was the one where you kind of like customized your dad and your mom, and then like it,
Uh-huh.
you would create the child based on that. But like imagine just going into that editor from that perspective, and then it's like pick pubic hair styling.
Yeah.
Well, and
Like,
also
weird.
all those character customizations, like they start at your head, and it's like, what do you want your face to look like?
Yeah.
And you
Nah,
go edit every
what do you want
eyebrow,
your
it's like,
junk to look like?
and everything's moving around, and then it just keeps jumping down, and then finally it gets to like your groin. It's like, what do you want your pubic hair to look like? And you're like,
You can, yeah, that's what
then
they
you're
said.
like, and you're
in,
like big, lush and plentiful, of course.
That's what they said in
Or like
the
a Ken doll.
cyberpunk thing. It was like you can customize the size of your genitalia.
Yeah.
And when people asked about that, they were like, "Yeah, we don't f around."
It was, yeah, the rating came out, and like why it was rated whatever is someone's like, oh, this is like intense, and their response was, yeah, we don't f around. That was great. That was perfect.
Listen, I just want a Bob Ross Merkin, okay? That's all I want.
You know that
Oh,
if they would
God.
allow you to customize a man's penis, it's going to be either like 15 feet long or like a micro penis. There's no in between there. It's going to be one of the two.
Just wait till people start modding it.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
exactly. It's going to be one of the two.
Do they
Put
do
that
they
in.
even need to?
You have
Do
that
they even need to at that point?
you have that BDE in body and spirit.
Ooh. Keanu Reeves will tell you all about how much you have too.
Oh man.
I'm very excited for that game, to be
Me too.
Yeah, I didn't pre-order it, but I'm probably going to get it because of all the fiasco and everything with it being delayed so long. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to wait till it comes out and then buy it. It's the same price. So
Because
it's not like I need to do that.
back 3 times.
I think so. I know it's
The
pushed out to like November.
Yeah.
The latest
2020.
delay is just for bug fixes and stuff, which I can appreciate because there are so many buggy games that have come out,
Yeah.
like Fallout 76 and
Yeah.
Fallout
That's
76. So
And then also in part because of all the remote working and everything, they apparently
Oh,
weren't
sure.
staffed and they didn't have the necessary equipment at home to push those things out. So I get it. And I agree. I'd rather have a polished game and a game that's not going to just crash nonstop than have a game come out way earlier and potentially
which
make the brand never want to put it out again. Say,
Right.
well, we lost money on it or something.
Well, and interestingly, that's a point where one of the most customizable games to hit recently actually kind of lost confidence. So Mass Effect Andromeda actually had that issue where there were a
Oh,
lot
yes.
of issues with face rigging and facial expressions upon initial release. Now, I waited a couple months before playing the game, and when I played it, it was fully patched and everything looked just fine to me. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed the game a lot. But
I didn't
a lot
play
of
it, but I saw a lot of nightmare images
yeah.
from the game. Just eyeballs.
Yeah, just
Eyeballs
eyes
and
pointing
teeth.
the wrong ways. Terrible. But I think that's kind of an example of where it can go wrong, or hilariously right, depending on your perspective.
True.
We've talked before about the chair Dovahkiin, the chair race in
The IKEA
Elder
porn.
the IKEA. But that like one of my favorite customized characters was actually one of the first games that my wife and I played together, which was Oblivion. And we created a character, and I decided not to go for kind of like the dashing hero. I decided to create an orc, and
Nice.
he was kind of a grumpy, goofy looking orc, and we named him Jimmy of South Jersey. And he had a massive underbite.
Nice.
So every once in a while, my wife and I would just look at each other like this. And that was the universal symbol for Jimmy of South Jersey. We just go, Jimmy. So, I mean, we still do it today. There's just a lot of like fun memories associated with even just a different kind of interesting character in that sense. And one of the fun things about those sorts of games too is you get so much free reign over who your character is.
Yeah.
Fallout, and even like I said, I've been playing the Outer Worlds. I feel like you get a lot of control, particularly through dialogue options. in the Outer Worlds. But you really get to tell the story of who your character is in that
Yeah.
sense, and you get to build them. You don't have to be Cloud, the sword warrior in Midgar. You can be the guy from, the West Coast who's good at hacking or something like that. Or you can be the orc who's somehow good at magic. And it lets you create a little bit more of the role play in those role playing games,
Yeah.
which is fun.
I mean, that's why I mentioned The Sims, because I feel like a lot of people, the first couple games of The Sims, you were able to customize everything. So like you would, not only customize the character, but you'd build the story around them. Like one of them would live in the little tiny house and he'd be trying to like just starting out. He's like the, he's the painter, and he's trying to be, sell paintings for enough money so he doesn't have to have an actual job and those kind of things. Like I like doing those things. And then I had, some sir something something that sounded really, snotty, and he'd live in the big mansion, and you see him at the park, and you're like, hey man, and he's all like, oh, I'm a jerk.
All of the
So like,
rosebuds.
yeah, all of the rosebuds for him. Yeah, so like just that kind of game I feel like is very open world, and that there is no real end goal there. Your end goal is those stories that you build. So
Yeah.
Something like that was always really enjoyable for me, just kind of playing those games out. And almost every one of them, to truly enjoy it, in my opinion, you had to be a character that had no money at the start and build up. No, very few people wanted to actually do that because it took a long time, a lot of playing, and just endless pointless clicking, but it was also enjoyable.
Because you have to practically live through the actual drudgery that is day-to-day
I
life.
mean, you could zoom up, but you had to do like the stupid stuff. Like you had to throw the person into the shower so they could get a shower because they stank, and then you have to like tell them to exercise, and then you're just sitting there watching this guy exercise. You know, fast mode. It was just, those kind of things were whatever. But
the hardest thing
it
in those
felt
games
good when it
was
was
really like the hardest thing in those games is really like you have to maintain friendships.
Yes,
And
that
like
is by
as soon
far
as
the
you
hardest
don't
part.
have somebody over for like 2 days, they're like, "Hey man, I'm mad at you."
Yeah, it's like
It's
I
like,
can't
but I
invite
need
you
to
over
keep
every
working.
day.
Exactly.
I need
No
to go to
longer
sleep
invite-
at an appropriate time so I can get to work. So I'm trying to become the CEO in like 3 weeks.
I kicked them out of my MySpace top 8.
Yeah.
Ooh, fierce, bold,
Um,
dangerous.
a game that I like that they don't really allow you to create your character, but Sea of Thieves, when you start the game, you get your pirate, but you don't get to create your body build, what you look like. It just randomly generates characters, and you can choose one of them. So you can go forever until you find one that you like the look of, or you can just pick the first one you see. Like mine is giant chest, covered in hair, and then tiny legs. He just looks comical, so I really like him. But the customization comes in when you actually get into the world as you explore, find treasure chests, do the thing, become a pirate. You can buy clothes, you can buy jackets, you can buy hats, you can get like peg legs, hook hands, weapons. You can customize everything at that point. They do different dyes so you can change your hair. They have beards, they have mustaches, they have different hair pieces. They even go so far as to, when you do certain missions or unlock certain things, you can get scars to modify your body. You can find tattoos. So it's more in world where you have to use the game currency to customize your character, but it kind of, you're forced to put yourself in the role of this character and create a story around it, which is kind of cool. I like it.
Yeah, and it makes you build your character through experience too.
Mhm.
If you have to have the currency, you have to acquire the currency in
Yeah.
order to do that. So I kind of like that because then it puts a sense of achievement into the character
Right.
too.
Are you saying that you raid boats and acquire currency?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, let's acquire currency.
Awesome. Yeah, I've actually been meaning to play Sea of Thieves.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've heard it's a really good game.
I've heard good things too. Actually, to that end, I also wanted to just talk about like one of my favorite customization games and why I think the customization in it is so cool. So my favorite is probably City of Heroes,
Oh,
which
yes.
Have you ever played City of Heroes?
Yeah, I
Megan?
used to play it. Yeah. And then they did
Um,
City of Villains.
yes.
Yeah.
So for the uninitiated, City of Heroes / City of Villains was an MMO that's actually just been recently revived in unofficial server mode.
Hmm.
But you play as either a hero or a villain, and you get to, I think there were like 12 different styles of heroing or villaining,
Yeah.
and you got to choose that and then customize your costume. So your character could look all kinds of, Power Ranger or Superman or evil mastermind Doc Ock,
Yeah.
Batman, however you wanted to do it. And there were all sorts of, different kind of flavors to things. I remember there was like a controller character where you got minions
Yep.
and you could flavor up your minions as robots or monsters or, something
Mhm.
different like that. And even when you had blaster powers, it could be fire, ice, or different things like that.
Yeah.
And it just gave you a really cool sense of being like Stan Lee in the think tank, dreaming up some sort of superhero or supervillain that's never been seen before. And one of the most fun things too, chime in if you agree, Megan, is the ability to pick a travel power and
Oh
then
yeah, yeah, yeah.
see it in action.
Yep.
So I know one power's flight. I think that's the easiest, but there was also the ability to jump really high or
Yeah.
run really fast, stuff like that.
Yeah, I had like a kind of like ninja based character, so he would like jump super high, super far everywhere, and I had henchmen that I think they were like ninja like characters, if I remember. I forget. That was in City of Villains. And then as you unlocked certain levels, you would get your travel abilities, or you could get like a cape,
Yes.
which was super exciting when you got the cape.
It billowed. It was
did.
great. It was a big deal back then.
It was. Oh, I forgot about that game. I love it so much.
It's such. I want to play it again. I actually
Yeah.
really like, and I mean it's just an offline emulator mode now. So, not offline. They're online emulators where you get to play with people. But
Yeah.
I've thought about looking into it, and then I keep pulling myself back.
There's a big controversy too because people were creating like DC heroes, Marvel heroes, so they put like a stop to it. Like you couldn't make Captain America. You could make someone that looked like Captain America, but you couldn't call them Captain America.
Reserved names.
Yeah.
One thing actually on the other side of things, from the physical appearance side though, because City of Heroes and Villains kind of locked you into one track of like how you wanted to be a hero or a villain, which encourages you to make different characters, which is fun.
Yeah.
But in other games, so as I mentioned before, The Matrix Online or Star Wars Galaxies, I think was the first to actually implement this concept, was the ability to kind of manage your character's talent pool, shall we say. So you might start off as a gunner who's good at shooting with blasters, and then switch to being good at the martial arts system, or you might switch over and become someone who's better at using one-handed fencing weapons or two-handed big hammers. And a lot of games like World of Warcraft, City of Heroes, like we said, kind of lock you into one class, where games like that gave you the ability to switch it up with the same character as you went, in addition to changing physical features and customizing your clothing and armor. And I really always kind of appreciated that as well, because I would get tied into the character, like one character, right? I would create one character, I would make my friends on a server or something like that, and especially in an online game, I wanted to maintain that persona, but still explore other facets of the game and different avenues of combat and crafting and stuff like that. So I always thought that was kind of cool too, as another sort of like customization aspect.
Yeah.
Woo!
Can I bring up everyone's favorite 2/5 of a game?
What's that?
Oh God,
What
no.
does that mean?
I know exactly
a
where he's
little
going.
game by
Don't do
Electronic
it.
Arts called Spore.
Oh, he surprised me
Where did you
when I
think
heard
that was
2/5
going?
of a game.
Why?
But
What?
anyway.
That is.
What were you thinking
finish,
of?
finish Spore, and then I'll tell you my 2/5 of the game. Go ahead.
Okay, I mean, Spore
First two
sounded like
stages.
it was going to be such a great game. The cell stage is the most fun when you're a little microscopic thing floating around eating plants and poisoning things with your poison butt
Your poison
and
butt.
and munching on meat or plants depending on if you were an herbivore or carnivore. Then you evolve a brain and you go out onto land and everyone made giant penis monstrosities because that's what people do in video games. Or, you made something unique. I mean, to be honest, the game came out 2008. It was
Yeah,
it
that's when you and
still
Tom played it. A
yeah,
lot.
it still wasn't as robust as I would have hoped it was because it was seriously like 4 different games in one. And then once you get past once you hit the tribal stage, your creature is locked in and you can't customize them anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you just go back and play the cell stage again. That's all I did. I have never gotten past the tribal stage.
Really?
I've never gotten to the space stage. I'm just like, I don't care for this.
I'll be honest with you. I've gotten to the space stage, and it's incredible to me. It's incredibly deep. I mean, it just goes for a really long time at that point. And you mostly focus on terraforming planets and trying not to get killed by other aliens. But the biggest issue with that game was it would just crash all the time at the space
Yep.
stage. So you would be getting to a certain point, and then you would realize you hadn't saved for an hour, and it would crash while you were in the middle of doing.
And then you
something.
just didn't want to play again. You were like,
Back to the cell stage.
yep.
I never played Spore. I know you guys really
So
enjoyed
much
it when you
fun.
guys played it. I should have played that.
It still holds up. I was playing
Oh,
it
really?
as recently as 2013, 2014, and it still crashes.
Well,
Yeah.
So-
And I
mean,
don't think
that's also
the
7 years
servers are online anymore either, so you can't like see other people's creations, which was kind of
that'd
like
be
the whole point.
essential. Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
essential to me. Maybe they came out with a second one. I have no idea.
No,
No? Oh.
they did not.
No, when you said 2/5 of a game, I was afraid you were going to circle back to Tom's comment where customizations go wrong. So I feel like I have to bring it up since I've said it twice now. DayZ and how the standalone went way too hard with customizations that they never finished their game. So, you're able to customize your character from predetermined models, but then you also had the ability to change shirts and pants, and you could wear different backpacks, and you could do different things like that.
That's all you find.
That's all you
You
ever.
don't
find
find
in the world,
food.
too.
You
That's
find
all
a
the
can
game
of beans.
was, and yep. So that's when someone spends way too much time and way too much money, because that's where it really probably came down to, on the customizations, that they just completely ruined their game. And I know we talk about DayZ a lot, and we definitely criticize them a lot, but it's the perfect example of how good a game was to how bad a new version of the game can become, and just what a game developer can do completely wrong. And I mean, it's funny we talk about customizing your character, but I think that if you look at the first game, you were basically in predetermined skins, and then people added on customizations later through mods. But originally it was everybody basically is one of 2 character models, and that was it. You could be the man or you could be the woman. Ta-da! And then you created the story yourself, and then they added mods that allowed you to customize and use different weapons, and basically build your story. But in the standalone, they focused so heavily on making every character model really nice, and they worked on customizing every building, even though they never truly customized the buildings. They focused so much on customization that they kind of ruined the rest of the game experience, or never fully developed the rest of the game experience. So I wanted to raise that. And I thought, Pinto, when you said 2/5 of a game, that's where I thought you were going, because I think that if you're going to do customization, don't forget about all the other factors of your game.
Don't forget that you're making a
The actual game.
Yeah, you're making an actual game first and foremost. You're not making a dress them up in that case. Play The
Final
Sims if
Fantasy
you wanna dress 'em
X-2.
All day.
Final Fantasy X-2 had good gameplay though.
Uh-oh.
It
Debate
had a
time.
bad. Did you guys hear me?
No, I mean,
No.
Sorry,
it had
thought you
good
said it had
gameplay.
good gameplay.
But
it had a bad story. But it
yes,
had
the
good
story was poop.
gameplay. So yeah, mechanics and story matter. I think it's interesting that we've talked a lot about sandbox kind of games for the most part. I think there's a little bit less of that when you talk about the Oblivion games
Yeah.
and the Fallout games, but they're still very open. There's still some other games though where I really like the customization features. I know we touched on sports games before, but actually two of my favorites are fighting games, which may
Oh,
throw in a
yeah.
little bit with the wrestling game theme that Megan and Pinto brought up earlier.
Soul
But
Calibur.
oh, Soul Calibur had amazing character customization.
Yeah.
I think Soul Calibur 4 was actually one of my absolute favorite character customization systems, and you would unlock additional pieces as you went in character story modes and in the game's dungeon crawler kind of
I
mode,
think so. Yeah.
where you had different stages to unlock and go through, and it was almost endless. It was so huge.
Mhm.
But it gave you incentive not only to create one custom character, but multiple custom characters, because those were who your party was made of, and those were who you would fight. I still don't think anyone has made a fighting game that has used its own customization system as effectively as Soul Calibur 4.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a shame. I really would love to see more of that. I was hoping to see more of that when I bought the latest installment in the Soul Calibur series, which was kind of a disappointment, to be
Yeah.
honest. Did you play that, Megan?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I like fighting games. I'm terrible at fighting games, but I
Me
enjoy
too.
them. Yeah.
All my fighting games devolved into me mashing buttons as fast as I could.
Yeah.
I'm not
I-
even kidding.
The
I-
only
I-
game I was ever good at was, I think, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on the Dreamcast. That I was decent at that.
I'm still not good at that. Soul
Yeah.
Calibur is, I think, the best one for me because I got used to the kind of system of horizontal, vertical, and then physical
Right.
fast attack. But I was pretty good at Tekken too for a little bit. But character customization in those games just kind of makes them a little bit more real, because normally you're playing
Yeah.
with all of these weird caricatures, and just I don't know, just being able to design your own caricature makes it kind of fun. Mortal Kombat did a good job with that too in a number of their games, and I can actually remember one strange character that some friends and I designed during a sleepover one night. So a friend of mine grabbed the controller and went to create a character and created a woman with large bosoms and in a bikini that he made skin color, and then gave her a cape and named her the Naked Cape. And thus, the Naked Cape waged warfare all through the night.
Creative.
Yeah. But memorable.
I
So-
made
Whenever-
I made John Cena in one of the Mortal Kombat games. I think it was Armageddon.
Nice.
Yeah,
Could you see
I-
him? Was he
You-
just an invisible man?
you could see him actually.
I don't believe it was really John Cena then.
I remember being really disappointed by the character customization in, I think it was Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse, and like that series holds, not the game series, but the anime series holds a special place in my heart. That was my intro to anime as a kid. And just to be able to create my own character in that universe, I was super stoked. And I can't really remember it, but I know I hated it. I didn't like it. It felt very limited. It wasn't fun.
There were
At all.
there's a handful of options.
Yeah,
right?
it
And
wasn't.
You're gonna be a Saiyan.
Of course. Yeah.
But it was man, I have that game. I remember playing that game.
I
It's
didn't
so
like it.
hard.
Yeah.
So hard.
Yeah.
I just got my butt whooped by like the easiest people in that game. I was like, whoever gets to the end of this must be a god.
Is it and they did a second one.
Yep.
Is it Dragon Ball Fighters with the Z. Is that the other one that they did recently? That one isn't bad. I don't know if there's character customization in it. I didn't get too far into it, but I felt like it was better than Xenoverse.
I have not
Like,
played that one, but I would
okay.
really like to. I like you, Dragon Ball Z holds a special place in my heart as an anime introduction, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to be cool like Goku and beat things up
Right.
when I was a kid. Um, will I ever be cool like Goku? No, but
Never.
maybe the created character that I make would be. And he could go rival Goku and then just whoop up on Frieza at the very least.
Yeah.
Um, games like that were really fun for that kind of thing too, just because it feels like a world like that. Any sort of character like that could emerge out of the shadows and be the next biggest,
Yeah.
strongest guy.
hmm
So it's kind of fun to explore that theme.
Yeah.
On the topic of very hard games, but this time with good character customization, I'd like to bring up the Soulsborne games. So Bloodborne or the Dark Souls, Demon Souls.
Oh,
The character creation in those games are actually very, very good and very detailed. The gameplay, if it's not your kind of game, don't play it. But
I'm glad Bloodborne was free. I would
yeah,
have been so mad if I paid full price. I will go back to it, but it made me so angry.
did you beat the first boss even?
I don't even think so, no. But I think I also played that around the time I had my surgery, so I was out of it for a good portion of the time. Yeah.
I had a similar experience with Dark Souls. I created a character. I think I got past the first boss and then kept dying so many times. I just didn't have fun. So that's okay. I'm a rage gamer. I can accept that it's not my sort of game.
I do like those games, but I have to limit myself with how much I play them because I'm just like, all right, not enjoying it anymore. Got to take a break.
5 years later.
That's what happened to me.
Monster Hunter World has a good customization system for your character. I don't know if any of you played that.
I wanted to, but I have not.
Yeah, how is that game? I know it's very sort of like MMOE where you normally play with a bunch of live players and squads, right?
Yeah, it's hard because I play solo for the most part because again, the people that I used to play with all the time jumped ship and went to PC and I have it on the PS4. So it's been a lonely experience and I didn't get too far into it. It's definitely a game you need to play with other people to advance and really enjoy it. But the customization is fun even as you're, progressing and building weapons and, getting new equipment and stuff. That's cool. It's fun. It's better with people.
Yeah.
That you know.
That's what a lot of like that style of game is like.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I've brought up a couple of those games before and playing those, and I have some online friends that I used to play a lot of those games with, and we all used to play them together, but that's sort of disbanded over time.
Yeah.
We all got older and had more obligations in life.
Yeah.
But I always I lost my train of thought entirely. I always. I really think those sorts of games are fun, and I enjoy them more for the social aspect of them than for a lot of the other things. So I mean, one of the active MMOs that I enjoy is Final Fantasy 14, and I kind of fell off with that because it's hard for me to engage in a new social group with that. But I have a character there that's fun, and I like leveling the different job classes and feeling like I can be every super cool guy from Final Fantasy. It's great. I love having a big glowy sword that I can smack things with. It's fun. And part of that actually, they have special weapons in that game that you have to kind of work your butt off to get. But there's a special tier of weapons called anima weapons. And I had been working on the Dark Knight class, which is great because Dark Knights have huge swords, so you can really see it when you use it. So you get these big kind of twisted looking weapons that are dark and gritty and also glowy, and they kind of have like this purple red swirling sheen to them when you pull them out. So just having a weapon like that and working towards that, and having a reason to have that's really cool too.
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting that as we've talked about these games too, we haven't really talked about premium customization options. I know from my perspective, it's mostly because I don't want to pay for them and they don't really give any sort of advantage in a game. But
Yeah.
that is a big moneymaker for. There goes my doorbell. Big moneymaker for a lot of games. And especially, I know Star Wars: The Old Republic did a big system where you could buy packs of items, which were primarily
That's
colors.
true. Yeah,
and
like Rocket League, everyone's favorite, has customizations to your car that you can only get if you pay money for,
Yeah.
or someone gifts them to you. So like we all want the cool dinosaur thing when you score a goal, a T-Rex comes like out in blazing fire. We all want that, and we can't get it because we can get it. We all we can usually afford that at this point, but like it's one of those. It's like do you need it? Do you really want to spend the $5 on that, or do you want to spend the $5 on 5 tacos at Taco Bell?
Destiny does a lot of that too, like different skins that you can get for your weapons or emotes. You have to really pay money to unlock them.
But you know what? I'm totally fine with game developers putting in something that people will buy that don't give them the advantage. We've mentioned War Thunder plenty of times on this podcast, and we will all, I think all like, if not love War Thunder, but the idea of someone being able to, we had a podcast episode. My topic was paid to win, or paying money to
loot
basically
boxes.
win the game. Loot boxes, that kind of stuff. Like, it's frustrating when that's the case. But you know what? Customizations, have at it. If it's not going to impact my experience, and it's going to make me actually want something just to kind of be cool, like, okay, that's fine, good.
I'm still close to buying that suit customization in Rocket League so that I can have a car that looks like I'm wearing a tuxedo. I think that's adorable, and it fits in with a lot of the image that we play with our Rocket League squad.
I will admit, I did recently spend $5 for the ability to gain a cat companion in Sea of Thieves, so that was worth it.
Okay, I would do that too.
Yeah, he has an eye patch and a peg leg.
Eye patch.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is his leg actually gone, and that's why he has a peg leg, or does he actually have it and he's like wearing a costume?
So you can get like a whole cat, everything intact, and you can buy an outfit for it that adds the customization of eye patch and peg leg.
Okay, just making sure you didn't go, sorry cat, chop off leg, here's a peg leg.
No.
You don't fit my aesthetic enough.
JoyPad podcast does not condone animal cruelty.
Not at all.
In any
this
sense.
This podcast is not sponsored by PETA.
You know what?
They're
that
destroying
might be the one
pixels.
I turned down. Oh gosh.
Yeah, but those customizations, I like those things. I think they're good for game developers too. So like, have at it, make those, but don't add customizations where I'm not getting some kind of experience out of the game because I don't have that customization.
I mean, I like a lot of the kind of the freer different skins that you can get in games like Overwatch, where it changes the look of the character. I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
I definitely favor customizations where I have a little bit more control and I can kind of build my own outfit for a character.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have a little bit more sense of ownership over that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Megan, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Why have they never made a game like BattleBots or something like that, where you build cool robots, customize them, and then battle with them? Why did they never come out with a game like that?
I mean, they did have a BattleBots game years ago.
Yeah, well,
when it was the thing.
Sorry, it came to me as we were talking about cars and things.
I think that's an excellent question.
Yeah,
it's a fair question.
We're going to go make that game.
I mentioned on the podcast. It's going to come out now.
That's true.
In
a week, we'll hear the news.
I just miss BattleBots in general. I loved that show.
It was back for a while. We were watching it.
Yeah.
It was great.
That was my entire goal at Lego Camp, was to build BattleBots.
Build BattleBots, yeah.
Mine
didn't happen, but
we kind of did. Ours,
Yeah.
the one that I built, played the Spider-Man theme and had a touch sensor that when it ran into things, it had claws on top that would come down and stab into whatever was in front of it.
That's
True,
pretty
but then
cool.
we also made the robot that was afraid of light when it was supposed to go toward light, I think, right?
Yeah, that
We programmed
definitely
it to do
happened.
the
You made a
opposite.
worm. You made a worm. Worms do
Yeah.
that. They go running from lights.
Just wrap it in a knot, operator. You'll be fine.
Uh,
Well, listen, we're just past the hour mark here. I think we've had a lot of discussion about a lot of different functions of customization in games. I hope you listeners agree with us that customization is an awesome and beautiful thing, and that the more and better options we get for customization, generally the better things are going to be, as long as they continue to focus on mechanics and story first.
the actual game.
Yeah.
I think our
Bohemia.
viewers and listeners should post links to their if they
Your
have
creations.
their creations from
Or
whatever game.
abominations.
Or abominations. Yeah, I'd love to see some funny pictures.
We will gladly view all of your abominations and give them hugs and maybe even kisses.
And we might post them ourselves if they're particularly good, because I love me a good abomination.
Yep.
If I could find a picture of the naked cape, I would share her out there. Well, listen, unless anyone has anything else to add, I think we will start to wrap up the episode here. If you are out there on the internet, please give us a like, a rating. Check us out on any of your streaming platforms and on the YouTube. We are also on all of the social media platforms at JoyPad Pod. And on Twitter, I believe we are also JoyPad Pod now with an active presence. Woo!
Yeah.
We're out there.
Can't
So again,
guarantee it'll last, but
We're trying.
we make no guarantees about anything.
it
You
might
can
already be over by the time you're listening to this. Who
Yeah.
knows?
We've already disbanded like the Beatles, and we're starting our solo projects. I'm off trying to build a rocket ship.
Oh goodness.
Thank you so much for listening. Did I miss anything? Did we do it? Did I do anything?
Did we do a podcast? I think we did.
No one had to remind me this time.
No,
to
you
plug
got
this.
everything this time.
Amazing. All right. Well, I'm gonna say the thing then. Can I say the thing?
You can say the thing.
Say the thing.
Stay joyful, everybody. Take care. Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.